All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to King and I Life podcast. Yes, we're picking back up with a follow up to interacting with law enforcement today. Again, follow us on your preferred podcast platform. Hit us with the email, kingandi369@gmail.com. Check out our sponsor for today. Check out the Sounds of Sweat Artists on whatever streaming platform that you listen to. And, you know, again, interacting with today's law enforcement to follow up. Um, so jumping back into it, is the criminal justice system as a whole antiquated, or is the issue of there are too many oppressive minded individuals in the system? What say you?
Uh, Honestly, I think that when you're dealing with a situation where you have so many moving parts, as they say, meaning, i.e., individuals, it's hard to regulate everyone. It's hard to keep everyone on the same page of being focused on, being um, true to the actual law, or keeping to the actual law, and not, diving into the gray areas, as they say.
Mhm.
Um, But the thing about it is, when you're dealing with everyone from the state um, top prosecutor, the local DA, the top guys in whatever police agency, and it goes all the way down to the person on the bottom of the totem pole, I guess you can say. How in the hell do you keep everything in line? And I guess that's one of the things that we as people also have to look at. Um, and again, not making excuses for any organization that allows things like this to happen, but again, I can see how it could be quite hectic, to say the least. Or uh, I think that the people really have to, as an individual, uh, answer for their own actions. I mean, that's the only way I know to put it, is as someone who's in law enforcement, whatever position you're in. Again, like I was saying on the last episode, is you have to look yourself in the face, and be all right with what you know is going on, whether that be, again, looking in another direction because other officers or agents are doing things outside of the actual law.
Mhm.
So again, I would just simply say, that's one of the things that comes down to each individual, the role that they play in each organization, and what they allow each individual to get away with.
I will say, um, I would say the whole system is antiquated, and I will also say that there are too many oppressive minded individuals in the system. I say that because with everything, everything is a living, growing system um, that we have in place. And the problem with it is there the system itself is operating on the the basic foundation. And the basic foundation, although it has a little bit, it's not to the point to where people want to adjust the laws to how people are today. Um, and as far as oppressive minded people, yes, people have to look themselves in the eyes or in the mirror and ask themselves, you know, did I do what was right? Or can I sleep at night with my decision? And the problem is most of these people can sleep at night with their decisions. So I will go back to something that is important to me, and that is if people are not voting the right people into these positions, we're going to keep having these piss poor ass people making the decisions. We're going to keep having these oppressive minded people in these positions. And for me, people need to understand, voting is more than just your president or your governor or your state representative. It's these judges, it's these prosecutors, it's these district attorneys, it's all of that. And you can't you can't expect people to look in the mirror or look within themselves and say, is this right or is this wrong? Because at some point, they're going to be in a situation or in a position where somebody says, hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. And then and that falls back onto, if you're not voting the right people into these positions, or if you're just saying, oh, it doesn't matter, you have to understand that for every vote that the right person doesn't get, or every vote that the wrong person gets, you're you're putting somebody else in a messed up position. Um, because if you look at a lot of these places who have corrupt judges, bad district attorneys, bad whatever the case may be, if I don't vote to make sure that person does not get into office, my cousin, my uncle, my friend, or somebody's nephew or whatever has to face this person in court and get a raw deal. So for me, I can't say that that's not my problem. I have to look out for my fellow brother. That's me. Because if I'm voting this corrupt judge and I know this judge has a problem with black people, if I'm voting for him or if I'm not voting against him, I have to I have to live with the fact that I'm voting against my brother. So when it's like looking at oppressive minded individuals in the system, there are too many of them and they need to be gone. We all need to get them out of there. We need to me, it's an obligation to get their ass up out of there, because I would hate for me to be in a situation and I have to face that joker that I didn't vote against. And now my life is in his hands. That's just how I look at that.
Right. I mean, the thing about it is, without me going too deep off into it, um, the system is kind of like self-running, self-lubricating. The system, it gives itself everything that it needs. Um, for me, it starts at the top of whatever agency and works its way down. Um, when those people in those positions finally say, enough is enough, and we're not going to have that within our agency anymore, that's when things will change to a certain degree. But again, I think there are just too many people, like you're saying, in positions where you wash my back, I wash yours, or you know, you look this way while I take care of this, and I look that way while you take care of that. There's just so much of it going on that how do you even deal with a system where so much of it is going on? Once people actually can figure that out, then things will change. Meaning, i.e., the laws will change. Um, but as far as the laws now, if you keep doing something the same way repeatedly over and over again, then they're never going to change.
But it's a two-way street. It does start at the top, but you have to also look at that person from the top came from the bottom. He didn't start at the top.
True
So
that.
if you have a person at the top saying no more, no more, this is not going to change, then you have to look at the bottom where you have to have people coming in who have that same mindset. And those people who are in the middle who don't have the mindset that the man at the top has or the men at the bottom have, then you have a big divide. Because I can be at the top and I can say all day long We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. That ain't right. That's not moral. What I say does not matter if the majority of the people under me are not going to do what I say. If they don't care about the policies that I try to enforce. Um, you also have to look at um, uh, unions and groups and stuff like this. I can be at the top with the best of intentions, and that group of people in the middle, if they don't like what I'm doing, they can vote my ass out. And again, that goes to what I'm saying is you have to have people in place who have the same mindset in order to make change. Because I can start hiring a whole bunch of people who have the same mindset as me. I can start at the bottom because, hey, this is my organization. But if I cannot or I am unable to weed out those bad apples, the problem is still going to persist. So it doesn't matter what happens at the top. Again, it starts it the top is responsible, but it starts from the bottom because the man at the top didn't start at the top. He came from somewhere and got pushed to the top. But along the way, going to the top, you have to make those changes. You have to put your foot down. You have to have people aligned with you. You again, and that goes back to everything I say. You have to have 100% participation in order to make change, or at least you have to have a good percentage of people with the like mind to change, especially within law enforcement. If you have a group coming in saying, "Hey, you know what? This is what it's going to be," I need to bring like-minded people behind me so that as we're moving up, if we look at it like a wedge, we're coming in. The bigger our wedge comes, the more we're going to push those bad apples out, and everything will change.
I agree. I totally agree with you on that. It takes a combination of the people at the top and the ones at the bottom.
Yeah, it does.
I would say that the people in the top positions, as far as like some DAs, the ones that are trying to be fair and um, hold the law up, the best way they know how, and the roadblocks that they encounter, I don't envy them. I put it to you like that. Anyone who's trying to work within a certain system where you know that you're coming into a network where there's so much corruption going on, I don't envy you. I admire you, but I can't envy you. There's way too many unforeseen or moving parts when it comes down to certain situations. I mean, let's be honest. There have been plenty of people trying to do the right thing who've gotten killed,
Mm-hmm.
including presidents, JFK. Uh, these systems, I think they're, again, because they've been going for so many years, you know, uh, pretty much doing what in the heck they want to do. It's so hard to change a network like that. But I'm not gonna keep going on and on about it. But I totally agree with you. So, how much of a role does the media play in the perception or interaction with law enforcement, being they typically report more bad than good incidences?
Yeah. Hmm. Good one. It's a plus and a minus on that. And it also depends on the well, I'm just gonna look at media as a whole to include social media.
All right.
It's good that it's seen because if it wasn't, we wouldn't see it. It's good that it's reported because if it wasn't, we wouldn't know about it.
True.
The problem that I have with it is these people who turn a blind eye to it. Um, because it doesn't affect them. That's the problem that I have with it. Um, Even the people that it does affect have a problem with it because, you know, a lot of people have become numb to it. And then you also have the people who are just, you know, indifferent to it. And by that, I mean, let's just say, you know, the people that look like us, they're like, I, homie shouldn't have got caught, or whatever the case may be, or he shouldn't have been doing this, or he shouldn't have been doing that. Um, and I guess that leads to my overall um, thoughts on it is we know these things happen. We need to do something about it. Because I will honestly say for myself, as as disturbing as it is for me to see it, it doesn't affect me directly. Um, and I honestly wouldn't even know what the hell to do to even participate in changing it because I live in a county that's predominantly white. Um, Now we are probably outnumbered 4 to 5 to 1. So, but I have not seen or heard of those type of issues in the county that I live in. I've
Mhm.
seen it. Again, I have not heard about it. So there has been no large police brutality cases in Harford County, Maryland, that I'm aware of. People of races get pulled over or arrested equally out here. I can honestly say more white people than black people get arrested in Harford County because, again, it's more of them. You can easily see it. So
Mhm.
the media is the only time the media is in Harford County or you see anything on social media that happened in Harford County, if it's big, like a major drug bust has that is connected with Harford County, Baltimore County, and maybe one or two other counties. Um, that's the only time that this county is typically in the news for police interactions. But as far as the perception that the media plays overall, of course you're going to see most of us in it. I think I honestly think it's sad to really be serious because
Right.
it happens to others, and you don't see it as much to others. I think one of the last major ones that I seen that happened to a white man was up in I think Buffalo, where the police pushed that elderly man down for no reason.
Yeah, I saw
Like
that.
fuck, like why? What was he doing that you had to push this elderly man down? He wasn't a threat.
Nope.
He
Damn
couldn't
sure one. I saw the
he
video. I was like,
he,
are
he
you
could
freaking serious?
he couldn't whoop your young ass. And
By
it was
no means.
I don't even know how many officers were there. So it's like, why? Like, help me understand. But I'm glad that the news showed that because it's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, really? And I think they got a slap on the wrist for that.
But I think with situations like that, though, um, we sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I put this in the right perspective for everyone. Your humanity goes out when you see a man like that. I mean,
Hmm.
damn near part of your being goes out when you see anyone in a situation where, regardless of their color, is being mistreated.
Yeah,
So again, the point that I'm making here is you as a human being, when you see shit like that, it affects you to a certain degree.
it should affect you.
It should. Thank you. Correct. Um, but a lot of people they don't get it. You know, even the ones who don't or can't relate to it or sympathize to it. Those are the people that you really got to ask yourself the question: are you human? Like, do you not get what just happened there with that situation? This man is an elderly man. He poses no risk, no threat
None.
whatsoever to a whole freaking force of law enforcement officers. And to witness a scene like that,
Mm.
again, you got to ask yourself, where's your humanity? But getting back on the question itself, again, I think the media plays a good role and a bad role. Good role because yes, you are reporting it, you are showing what's going on. But bad because you don't show anything else to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? Like this all you show is people or doggy hue going through BS like this. So it's kind of like if you're in that line of work, like where's that line for you at of being fair and balanced, or is there a line? I guess I could pose that question. But again, with social media now, with people being to pop out their cell phones and record what's actually going on, is good. But at the same time, if there's 10 of y'all holding a phone and not one of y'all, you know, try to bring more than just a video to it, meaning, I, hey, what you're doing is wrong, or, voicing or saying something, I can't expect you to interact as far as like stopping a police officer from doing his job to a certain degree. But when you know that excessive force is going on, what do you do? Do you continue to just record, or do you actually bring light to the situation? Hey, verbally saying what you're doing is wrong, or, we're recording you, or something to get these people's attention and make them stop doing what it is that they're doing.
They
I
don't care.
mean,
They really don't care. I mean, if you've noticed in a lot of videos, um, if they're if a lot of the videos recorded by people that look like us, they're not saying anything, or they're saying something, but we have been programmed for hundreds of years, because I'm not going to say this is a new thing. We have
right?
been programmed when something like that happens to shut the hell up, or else you're going to be a part of it. Um, Back in the day, if you say, "Hey, you're roughing them up," "Hey, boy, if you don't mind your business, it's going to be you next." That's what they were used to back in the day. That has
Mm-hmm.
carried out through these years. Now you have had people saying, "Hey, stop doing that. You're hurting him. You're not doing right," and they'll either ignore the hell out of you or tell you to
Yep.
shut the hell up, keep moving, mind your business. So outside of um, and I hate to say this, outside of you having the means, the physical means to neutralize that police officer that's doing wrong, there's not much that you can do unless you are willing to give your life for that person who's being brutalized by that police officer. There's not much you can do. There's really not much you can do. Reporting does not seem to phase a lot of these police officers, period. Now, they could be in the wrong. They can be perceived to be in the wrong. They can be totally right. But then you also have to understand that if that law enforcement officer is in his duty, right, wrong, or indifferent, and they take a pause to pay attention to what these people are saying, they also put their lives in danger. And again, whether they're doing good, bad, or indifferent, because you don't know the mentality of the person that they're dealing with. And I will also add that before you step in and say, "Hey, you're doing wrong," blah blah blah, you need to be you need to understand the situation before. you interject your opinion, because you may be walking down the street and you see two, three police jump on one person, then you run up there and say, "Hey, you're hurting him, you're hurting him." But did you see exactly what the hell happened? And I think that's also part of the problem. Now, I'm not giving the pass to the police or people who are handled by the police, but understanding of the whole situation does um make you know interacting with that situation less uh hectic, or so to speak. Um, because there's a lot of times that we see on the news, like, damn, that's messed up that they did this, that, and the other. But then it takes a while for the whole story to come out. Granted, we can look at something and be like, that's too much. And a lot of the times, that's too damn much. Like them putting the bag over the dude's head. Um, like the young man that you were talking about who was walking home from school. Um, like the guy who was walking across the street and he ended up getting shot. Yes, some of these things are too much, but at the same time, you got to understand, hey, you're hurting him. You need to stop that. Doesn't do anything. That happened with George Floyd. Hey, you're choking him. Hey, get off him. Hey, he can't breathe. Him saying I can't breathe. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Um, and also to add with the media thing, when you were saying that, when we're talking about they always show the bad, I've seen some good things, and good reporting on police doing good things. I've seen
Right.
where white police have done good with black people. The problem that I have with that, it's over dramatized. Like, you have a white police officer who goes and plays basketball or whatever with black kids or whatever the case may be, and they'll harp on that story for like 3, 4, 5 minutes. I get it. This
Yeah.
may be something that he really does, on a weekly basis, or every time that he's on shift, go checks on this neighborhood, these kids play basketball, whatever the case may be. But honestly, how much can you stretch that out? You know, if it's a whole police department's effort to do community outreach, yes, I get it. You can stretch that out 5 minutes or whatever the case may be. But when you see a incident where you have police officers beating someone or doing them wrong, that one incident right there is probably more than 5 minutes long. So you have to compare and contrast those interactions and how it's reported. It would be great for some if they reported more good interactions with the police, but to me, it doesn't fucking matter to me if they report good stuff. It just doesn't. I mean, because that's something that they should be doing. Um, I'm not okay with as much as they show the bad stuff, but I would rather see the bad stuff so that I'm aware, because that is something that you should not be doing. Good stuff is what you should be doing. You should not be recognized for shit, like everyday stuff that you should be doing. That's just like in the army. If I'm doing my job every day, I don't need to be recognized for that, because that's what I'm supposed to do. Now, if
Right.
I do something beyond the call of duty that's good, okay, great. Like if you're a police officer and you know, you making sure you are known in the community, hey, I'm such and such, good to meet you. That's your job. But if you run into a blazing building and save a whole black family, then you need to be recognized for that, because you, first of all, you didn't have to run into a blazing building, period. And
Right.
if you run in there and you save a whole black family, and let's just say you're in a location where, black and white police interactions are not the greatest, and you do that, maybe you need to be recognized for running into a blazing building and saving a family.
True. I guess that comes down to the question of, though, in a situation like that, what do you do? I don't have an answer. I'll be honest with you,
That's
people.
hard.
As far as like when you have a situation where you see a police officer blatantly breaking a law that he's sworn to uphold, meaning, about to kill someone, who don't have a weapon on them, they're not resisting, you got 5 or 6 of them on this one person who's already in handcuffs, and they got a arm around his neck, choking the shit out of him, or foot on his neck, or with their batons, beating him like he's damn Rodney King. Like, what do you do? Like, besides record?
That's real easy. Real easy. It real easy. And it goes back to something that I keep saying. Your local officials. If you are out there and you are recording this, YouTube, World Star, and all these social media platforms, okay, cool that you posted on there. But what you need to do, send that shit to the news. Send that shit to your county representative. Send that to your governor, your senator, your your house rep. That's who you need to send that stuff to, because that will tell you if these people that you voted into office give a goddamn about what's going on in the communities. Um, um, Again, county executives as well, city council. You need to push on these people to make these changes, because if you're just posting this shit on Facebook, Instagram, World Star, this, that, and the other, yes, the world is going to consume it. Yes, the world is going to consume it. But I don't think you see your local news talking about what's on World Star Hip Hop. I don't think you see the local news always reporting what's on Facebook, YouTube, this, that, and the other. I don't think you see your county, city, state reps focus on what's posted on these social media sites. No, I'm telling you, I will email my state rep. I will email my county rep. I will fucking email the fucking governor. And I'm telling you, every time I've done it, it's worked out well for me. Well, quick example, we have a toll system here. I was going through the goddamn toll, going through the damn toll. I got a bill in the mail for almost $1,000. Why? Because they were sending something to the wrong address. And they said, oh, well, we're going off the address that you have in motor vehicles, which is run by the goddamn state. I'm like, no, I can download every one of my statements that say my current address. You're sending it to an address that I had 4, 5, 6 years ago. What the fuck did I do? Stack of papers. Sent it to the governor's office. You know what happened? I had to pay that because I had to renew my tags, but I got a goddamn refund. So I'm telling you, it matters who you vote. It matters when you interact with these people. So if you out there videotaping that, don't be videotaping, oh, I'm gonna post this on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. No, no. City, county, state reps. Send it to them. Send it to the news. I guarantee you will get more results if you do. Because the one thing that they don't want to do, the one thing that they don't want to happen is you send stuff to them, nothing gets done. Now you have receipts and you can put their ass on blast. They don't like negative publicity. I promise you. Who the hell wants negative publicity like that? Period. You don't want to be that guy or that lady who, you know, when it comes down for real, oh no, no, I remember you. I sent you an email, blah, 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 about this incident that happened to this black kid over here, and you did nothing about it. Remember that? They don't want to answer questions like that. They don't. They do not want to answer. They don't want to deal with that type of stuff because it's negative and it hurts them. Period. Period.
That's a good answer. I mean, very valid points. But on the flip side of that, how does that help the person who's being mistreated right then?
It's never going to hurt. It's never going to help the person that's being treated right then and there. It never. That's just like if your mother whoops your ass and your daddy don't know about it. He can't do nothing to what's going on with you right then and there. Nobody can, because you getting your ass whooped right now. What it does is it sends a message that, okay, this is not going to be tolerated. Because if you look at it like this, when you work, you don't get paid on the spot.
Right.
You work your 40 hours, and then you get paid on payday. You get paid later for what you're doing right now. So same thing with this. If that person is getting beat up by the police right now, and what I said earlier, unless you have the means to neutralize that police officer, nothing can be done. I mean, you know, you can't affect what's going on right now. The only thing you can do is prevent it for the future, or help that person get restitution for what happened to them then. That's it.
Mm, I get what you're saying. So does racism within law enforcement have an effect on interactions? Since reporting incidents will cause lack of back up when needed, no promotional opportunities, and being um, ostracized.
What's it does. We know that. We know that. We know that. Um, you know, and the one thing that I can think of is the sheriff in Louisiana who committed suicide because of what was going on racially, blah blah blah. I don't agree with what he did. I don't think that was an effective way to do things. Um, you know, if you see that type of stuff going on, committing suicide doesn't solve the issue. It doesn't even bring the right type of awareness to the issue. But um, if you um, are in one of those situations, uh, it's kind of dicey because racism it plays a bad effect in those situations. Like, what can you do? Um, because racism it's crippling mentally and emotionally crippling. Um, yeah, and you'll get caught up in one of those situations to where lack of backup. I don't know if you saw that movie with Tyrese, Black and Blue, where the young lady was a police officer in Louisiana. Um, she witnessed white police officers kill some black teenagers on her
Mhm.
body cam, and they was all after her. Um, so you deal with stuff like that, and it's like, whoa. So yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, you just don't know how it's going to affect you. I don't even know what else to say with that one because it's
Yeah, it's definitely again. Anyone in a position like that where they know they have to deal with that, it's a very crazy situation to be in because again, you're kind of like at that point, who the hell do you trust? Because you're trying to do the right thing, but at
right.
the same time, doing the right thing represents separation from the organization that you're a part of. So then that organization look at you like, oh, it's like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. So you want to do your own thing. You want to be Mr. Goddamn Goody Two Shoes and shit.
Hmm.
So here's how we're gonna handle that. You can call for backup. But your ass ain't finna get no backup. Oh
Right.
yeah, I'm right there. I'm on my way. This is Officer 2.0 and car
Right.
5.99. We on our way. While they sitting there eating donuts.
Hmm.
So again, it's kind of like as someone who's a true officer and wants to do the right thing, how in the hell do you combat a situation like that?
Yeah. Crazy, bro. Crazy.
Well, once again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of the King and I Life podcast. Again, you guys can find us on Facebook, YouTube, uh, all your
Instagram.
major podcast platforms. We got some other things that we're working on for you guys, some major things, but we're gonna keep those on the wrap. I know we've been saying that for a while, but we're narrowing it down, so we're gonna get back with y'all on that.